All good. I'm actually just when I'm talking to you here, I need to follow up with a customer actually to change address. So
Fair play,
no,
fair play,
I,
fair play.
I'm looking at you again. I can see you again.
Come on, come on, come on, come on, come on. I see the Irvin's coming in there now. Hi Eddie.
Hi guys.
Irvin, how are you?
Very good now.
We don't.
Hey Eddie. Are you a host there, Irvin? Is it coming up as your host or is somebody else host?
Probably me, I'd say, because I was on before you, so maybe me.
It's Premium Plus, whatever that is.
Yep.
There's the Vision 2020 is what the whole what it's all about. I suppose the Achievers Club, what was known as the Achievers Club, is now known as Juice Plus Team Ireland. It's a united team countrywide. It's no matter what side you're from, we're all working together on it. So that's the big thing. But Donald put a presentation in place, and I thought it was fantastic. The culture and the vision for next year and for 2020. I suppose this is what came from the meeting, but it was the 20 or 22 people that were in the room that came up with this as a vision for the company. And I think that was a fantastic part of it, because it's our company, it's our vision, and it's us that wrote the book for it, if you want to call it that. So it's all of us included, and that. So the vision, I suppose, is what the company is leading with: simplicity, excitement, which you can actually feel the excitement coming back into the whole business since the Barcelona conference. I think it really made a huge difference. Authenticity, or authentic, is the other thing that we are what we say we are. Turn up every day, daily rituals, or IPAs, that when we actually think and producing activities, that we actually do what we say we're going to do rather than thinking we're doing it. Accountability is another big one as well. Some teams have actually got together and groups have got together and have formed an accountability call. I think we spoke about it last week. And the other thing is to step outside of our comfort zone and not to be afraid to improve or to make changes or to make, to go that little step further. Also, fun is a big part of it as well, and success then, I suppose, comes with that. Once we get all the other things in place, the success is what you get from doing all these other things. So, that was really, I suppose, what came out of the meeting. Donal and Damien put huge time into it. Elaine spoke briefly on the accountability call that we started doing. We can give more details on that for anyone that wants them. And Donal Brennan, then he actually went through the 10-point plan, which I know we've probably all seen it on plenty of occasions, but sometimes maybe it's no harm to see these things again. So if Donal is there, I'm going to get him to maybe go through that for us again. Donal?
Yeah, I'm here, Irvine. How are you?
Let's go with this.
So,
I have to make you host there, will I?
Yeah, you're okay. I think I can share screen from there, yeah. So, good evening, everyone. So the 10-point plan, as you say, yes, most people, nearly everybody will have seen it at this stage, but of course, as we start to focus on rebuilding momentum within Ireland, obviously new people are going to be key to that. That's where the momentum comes from and the excitement, and that's what drives the growth. And so we need to make sure that we're giving them the best opportunity to start as quickly as they can, or in terms of that they know the basics. And so key to that is something that I've always been guilty of is I spend a long time getting prepared and having things ready and so on, and then you realize you're spending longer getting ready than you are actually talking to anybody. So what I like about the 10-point plan is that all of us, we have it now. You can tweak it to suit yourself, but broadly speaking, it covers everything. And now it's a case of go find people to introduce it to, as opposed to creating new tools. So I'll just share my screen again. There's a couple of points that
Could everyone just please mute there, if you don't mind? There's a bit of feedback.
Okay. It's better now, I think, isn't it? Yep. Okay, so there's a couple of points. Can you hear me now, Irvine? Yeah. Okay, so there's a couple of points that had came up in particular as we were going through this the other night, and that was around the product and business story, the listing names, and so on. And Sheila was making the point that the old starter pack that we used to have covered that brilliantly. And it was something the company kind of went away from, but we know that they're coming back to that now. So if you look at these 10 points here, in particular, talking about, the experience in the products, submitting your franchise, reviewing, you receive your logins and become familiar with the office. That's all just getting somebody ready to get started in their business. Setting the goal to SDD over 1 month or 2 months is the same. And really the work then starts on point number 5, and that is getting our product story ready. The chat is just open. Sorry. Yeah, Irvine, will you keep an eye on the chat as well in case anybody's any questions, because I can't see it at the minute. So number 5 then was where the real work starts, and that is your product and business story. And that's something that we had slightly got away from, I think, because the starter pack wasn't being used as much as it used to be. And then how exactly to do that. And with a new person, and all of us have been guilty of this, not even when we were first new, but and probably had bad habits for a long, long time, where you've often heard in different trainings where people says, overnight you became an expert in Juice Plus and in nutrition and so on. And what the product and business story section of the starter guide did ensured that we kept it focused on ourselves. And so we weren't going off on tangents about, the studies and how it's made and how much fruit and veg you should take. And we were nearly, sometimes when you go down that route, you're nearly preaching to people as opposed to talking about how you came across Juice Plus, why you took it, what were the benefits, and what were the results of taking it for you and for your customers. And so that actually was brilliant of the starter guide, that it got you focused in on that. So it's getting back to that. So point number 5 is a big, big one, and one that we need to put a lot of focus into when we're starting a new person, so that they're confident to go out and tell their own story. But again, for all of us as well, every time you're taking a new person through it, it probably reminds us that we've got to get back to that real basic point of why we got started, what are the benefits and the results of taking Juice Plus, because ultimately that's really all people care about. Creating the list then was another great one. I think in the old starter pack there was at least 1, if not 2 pages, and you just could start jotting down names. And the great thing there was when you were taking a new person through that, you could then show them how it's not just about the people that you know or that they know, it's about the people that they know who they know, if you know what I mean. So I know when Eddie does some training on this, he talks about the 200 names in your phone book, and each of those people have 200 people that they know as well that you don't know. And the list of names in the starter guide always did that really well, where you could show a new person to start thinking, if you like, outside of their own circle. And then using that list of names, not only as people who might be interested in taking Juice Plus or joining the business, but using them as a referral list as well. So we've done a bit of training on that a couple of months ago about referrals and so on. But without the list of names, you can't do any of that. So that's something that we've got to zone in on again as well. So point 5 and 6 are really where the work is starting. Point 7 then is get organised, page-a-day diary and the 30-day grid. We've had massive success with the 30-day grid, and it's something that I think we should probably be pushing a little bit more. I know Henry asked me for a copy of that the other day, so I'm going to post it in the Team Ireland page, and everybody can have access to it. But it's definitely well worth having it, and it keeps you on track and keeps you organised. And then point 8 is planning your activities, so social media, launch nights, in-homes or online events or one-to-ones. So basically everything. And I remember going back to when I first joined the business, and one of the statements that I'm not sure who was doing the training was saying, and they were basically saying that any interaction with anybody, whether it be online, offline, in a group of people, one-to-one, regardless of what it is, that's an event. And so basically you should be sharing your story with at every opportunity you have. So covering the whole wide range of activities is key to building our business. You know, there's a lot of focus at the minute on social media and so on. And I think sometimes personally that the message is slightly lost there, that social media is another great tool that assists you then when you meet somebody one-to-one. They'll have already seen what you're doing and have a vague idea of it. And it's like just another point of contact with that person. So if you can try and combine all of the different events, all these interactions, well, then you're going to get the best results because you're throwing the net wider, if you like. And then becoming accountable, which is something that Irvine just mentioned, that Elaine did a great slot on it the other night, and that was, you know, in small groups, having, you know, accountability to each other and so on. And so that can be an upline, a downline, a sideline, it doesn't really matter who it is. Or it could actually be somebody who's not in the business at all, which is probably just as powerful because you know, you're just about being accountable to somebody else and keeping you on track and keeping you honest with what you're doing. And as you said, Irvine, getting out and doing it now. And then becoming an eager student. Again, I remember when I first started the business, Jim Rohn was shared with absolutely everybody. I remember Jerry got about 500 copies of a CD. His bag was packed with them. Every event we ever went to, whether it was in his kitchen when we first started, or whether it was in the events we ran in Belfast, and regardless of when it was, things like that were key and they were given to everybody. And they didn't necessarily have to be people signed into the business. It was for other people who were just thinking about it as well. And so again, we've probably gone slightly away from that. So getting new people back focused into, you know, starting to learn more about our business from day one, start to invest in educating themselves about the product and the business. Like, all the information is already there, but we've got to point them in the right direction for that. And then doing the personal development stuff as well, like the Jim Rohn stuff. So that's really on the 10-point plan. The key things that came out the other night were that we haven't got a starter pack. And should we, I know the company are looking into reintroducing that. It's certainly something that we can put to them to put a bit of urgency on. But in the meantime, we shouldn't wait for the new tools to come. We should get on and take what we can from wherever. So I had mentioned the Australia one. And there's a lot of information in this. I've just downloaded it there from their virtual office. There's 24 pages. Some of it you may not need, but then there are bits that we could use easily ourselves straight away. So point 5 and 6 were the list of names and the product story. So if you scroll to those, there's the product story done in the exact same way as it was done in our own starter guide. So we should just take that page and use it ourselves. You go on from there. There's frequently asked questions. This is all the same stuff as we used to have. And then there's a memory jogger of different people to talk to. So that's the beginning of your list of names. So you can take that and have as many printouts of it as we wish. And then who do you talk to? And this is like a memory jogger of who do we know and so on. So it's like similar to what Eddie says about taking out your phone and so on. So the tools are already there. We don't need to wait for the UK and Irish office to produce something specifically for us. We can take this and use it ourselves anyway. And then there's the 30-day grid, which the Australian guys introduced originally, as far as I'm aware, but seems to have been picked up by everybody. And then there's a daily method of operation. I haven't actually gone through it in detail, but again, it's like our page-a-day diary. It's just something to keep you on track and keep you accountable. Well, obviously, all these things need to be tweaked to suit yourself. So I'll share this. It's just a PDF. I'll put it in the Team Ireland page as well, and I would suggest that we just take what we need from it and so on. And then just to finally finish up, Irvine, just something that I had been using is I had back a couple of months ago, before actually this came up the other night, and I was reminded of the Australian office. I just put together something that I would use with a new person, and it kind of, it's not so much that it's this in particular is anything new. It's not, but it kept me on track in terms of what I wanted to take a new person through, and in a certain order. So first of all, having a look at our overall business, the company, what a franchise is and so on, and how you get paid. And then here's our simple system. So in other words, let's get started on STD straight away. The other stuff you can look into down the line. A little on the products and the programs that we run, whether it be Shred 10 or the new family program. There's the potential of the business, a 10-point plan, which is the key bit. How do you get to STD, and really starting to focus in now on STD is as the most important thing. The points, and then lastly, just making sure that they're in the groups they need to be in. So every team has different groups for franchisees and then other ones for customers, and just making sure that they're in there. So that's just something I was using. What I probably need to add in is those couple of things from the Australian one, but people are welcome to it if they want it, and I'll post both in the Team Ireland page. So that was really it, Irvin. It was just to touch on those key points again, and in particular, the product and business story and creating the list and then getting to work with point 7 and point 8.
Great stuff, Don. That was absolutely fantastic again. And as you said, going through this every so often is very important, because I know we have all heard it on numerous occasions, but it's great to freshen it up and have it fresh in your mind again, that you just, you can get focused again and move on. So fair play for that, Donald. Thanks very much. And you'll